Family, on a good evening. I hope say any side or side on a friend on a self na the world. I hope so on they do well. I hope say the week meet una fine with well body and strength. Now that's we all they ask God for. And that whatever una they do, una find happiness in it, enjoy in it. So as usual, we don't come now so again today, Friday the 26th of August. Like play in a 9 months with the canuck. So 9 months to the actual drum beat, you know. Officially, I can say 9 months to the actual drum beating. In fact, we don't pass ourselves by 2 days because the official date is the 24th of June 2023. But even before that, we get registrations them where they begin. I believe it's September 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, but I will get for clarify that date today so that I don't mislead people them. But listen, I hope you all did well. Again, welcome to Salone Issues. Salone Issues. The one where they watch we now the different platforms them I tell una all cabo. So as usual, I hope you all have this with you. It's very important. Okay, H2O. I hope say we go to hydrate together as the show they go along. Una not forget to hydrate. It's very important, yeah. For make we keep the body, the skin, the organs, all the different parts them flowing very well. All right. So without wasting much time, we get Boku for talking at the show today. So therefore, I go like for make we go to we first video. Listen, I don't they talk about this thing, I don't they talk about this thing, I don't they talk about this thing. We know almost how heavy we rains thinking being a salon. We know for say we not get proper drainage systems them now the country. I mean, this is not a criticism, this is just the reality, right? We also know for say in a Sierra Leone we not get a culture where not to usai no more you tap you for clean, you for also clean, you know, pass usai you tap. You know, it is, yes, government has a duty, government has a responsibility, but we also as citizens, we also have a duty and a responsibility. Yeah, governments that enroll for provide space usai when we don't get that all the dirty them, then forget sai for go keep the dirty, then take care of the dirty and disgird. Disgird means saying for get rid of the dirty them. Yeah. But then also now they role for identify places them who say we they go put the dirty them so that when they come then go get them from them place then they and then you know dispose of them. Salone no get the kind facilities then it way at least when we know where like say na other countries them even within other West African countries that we don't live every week then get an identified date where just like you so oversee where the garbage truck they come na your area, you put your garbage, you put your dirty in a door na a container, then come they empty them from the container and put them at the garbage truck and carry and go. We not getting kind system and they yet. where we get big garbage truck, then where they go host to host to host. Every area getting your own day. But that is not to say we not get team them in place where we can use for get at them dirty. Then they are a member when me been they grow up na Salone for the 10 them when me grow up na Salone. You know, then 10 and then I will borrow 90% they come. So you dey gather the dirty, clean your yard, make sure say the gutter clean, make sure say all thing they do fine, and then like mostly na been Saturday. Saturday, so he go come, so he can take the dirty, and then so he self go collect small thing, and then so he go dispose of them dirty, then they na the side usai government now can come and can get at the big dirty into tango. I don't know if that is the same system where they operate still in a Salone, but I am quite sure it's quite similar to that. But one video come on at though, where you know Sierra Leone we boast of pristine beaches. I think one of the longest you know peninsula beaches, like in fact in West Africa. But if you get something way good, you know all and fine, that thing they go puel na you an. If you get something way good, you know all and fine, it go puel na you an. And I mean that's just the basic fact. If we get good thing, we not all and fine, and we become irresponsible with them thing, and we have nothing to boast for. We have nothing to look forward to, because we yonyo and don't well waiting we get. You know, inclusively. This not upon one person, inclusively. This not from we the people them, as well as government, as well as agencies them, we're responsible for safeguard, for take care of and make sure say certain things them be done right, certain things them be look after. Make we watch this video. As he say, I think say this video is so good, trigger some responses. Make we watch this video.
Man, the whole Lonely Beach in Sisu. What's the world coming to an end, man? Look, the Lonely Beaches, man. You don't believe this are Lonely Beach in Sisu, my friend. And they're gonna ship what they wait for, exhaust all the resources now. Man, it's sad. Look the dirty. And so I'm thinking that this come from the ocean, man. This ocean, look the ocean. Large, you know, what's in the world they can do, man? At the show now this will let one understand how Lonely Beach look like. Seriously, don't go say Lonely Beach safe. Seriously, look, all this large, look when they play na Sansa, now na Dobson they play Panic, man. Seriously, we get a sad story now. I don't know when this, I've never seen this bad before. Look the bottle, look the trash, look they're everywhere, man. Oh my God, this is bad. Alright guys, I just want to give you feel of what's missing now. I know see other people.
I don't know if we really taking the magnitude. When me been the grow up, this beach here so Lonely Beach, because I not forget to me na Aberdeen Pikin. When me been the grow up, this beach here so Lonely Beach, because we been get land there na Lonely, Aberdeen, you name it, we had it. So them place them in a place them where I know as a child very well. For see one bottle na the waiting they call, let alone paper na the beach. I cannot tell you that I saw that growing up. Pure sand, pure golden sand, pure golden sand. I want to make my producer play this video again. If some of una will grow up na Freetown like me, or we know the peninsula like me, tell me I know the peninsula very well, right? If we will be in the grow up, if we not ever come across 1/3 of what in this video they show so, not even half or 1/3 of waiting this video ya so they show so. And then we go can talk. I want make we play this video again.
Man, the whole Lonely Beach is so. What's the world coming to an end, man? Look, now Lonely Beaches, man. You don't believe this are Lonely Beaches, so my friend. And they're gonna ship all the wait for exhaust all the resources now. Man, it's sad, it's sad. Look the dirty. And so I'm thinking that this come from the ocean, man. This ocean, look the ocean. Large, you know, what's in the world they can do, man? And they show now this for let one understand how Lonely Beach look like. Seriously, don't go see Lonely Beach safe. Seriously, look, all this large, look when they play na sansan, now na toxin they play panic, man. Seriously, we get a sad story now. I don't know when this. I never ever seen this bad before. Look the bottle, look the trash, look they everywhere, man. Oh my God, this is bad. Alright, guys, I just want to give you feel of what's missing now. I know see other people.
So now just few weeks ago I show another video and pictures them of people building concrete structures on the seafront, right? Concrete structures. People and they build restaurants, they build hangouts, they build this, they build that, they build that. They not get proper trash, they not get proper dirty collection mechanism. People just they eat all thing, nobody know they monitor anything. You say Minister of Tourism, they fly this, that for bring tourism. Una don't destroy the ecosystem. Una don't destroy waiting for attract tourists in Canada country. And when I say una, it doesn't have to be that na you they drink and throw away or left them. The fact that say you are in charge, the fact that say you're responsible for make sure say we coast remain pristine, we coast remain clean and neat, and you know put structures them in place, you know put safeguards them in place for allow that for continue. Now we enjoy pristine beaches, we know what it is, we know what it mean forget for sea beach with clear golden sand. But now we in turn, and when I say we collectively as Sierra Leonean, we are sitting by in this day and age and allowing selfish people for mega change for destroy the coastal front. This is what makes Sierra Leone beautiful. When they talk about the beauty of the land, that beach the way una don't cover so it's dirty, una don't they throw away plastic na the water, throw away all kind nyama na the water, to the point where now that entire coastal front there is full of seaweed. Seaweed not they just grab and grow so no more. Now till the way una they put inside the water, now in the cause reaction inside the water for make seaweed begin grow. Yes. So now, from a pristine golden sand beach, which you know the sea, na dirty pack inside. Me know the people that were responsible for make sure say this not happen. But I can clearly point at some people off the top of my head and said and ask, what are you people doing? City Council. What are you doing? Mayor Akisoya, what are you doing? This na Freetown, this beach here so they, and for all I care, this beach is under your jurisdiction. Together with the Ministry of Tourism. Madam Pratt, what are you people doing? What are you selling? especially to the Ministry of Tourism. What are you selling to the international community? What are you selling to expatriate or to people around the world who may want to or who would be interested to come to Sierra Leone just because of waiting and not hearing about we beachfronts, about we beaches, them, the pictures them where they don't see. When you go to Google right now, you put Sierra Leone, the image where they come off of Lonely Beach, not equivalent to what we are seeing right now. So somebody don't go see that image there. Now Google, it don't do in research. It don't pay $2,000 plus change, depending on where they are coming from, just to go vacation at Salone. Then a ticket no more. We know they talk about food, we know they talk about hotel. Yeah, we know they talk about transportation. We know they talk about medical insurance. We're leaving all of those out. Now tickets no more flat out. Now they talk about so. It don't go pay for board for Cancidon. He say, I want to enjoy this Lonely Beach where I see. Then he say now, he go to a hotel. Then they ask and say, where would you like to go? They're like, oh, well, I would like to spend some time at the Lonely Beach. Can you take me to Lonely Beach? Now, sound they take them go. What have we to show? Bricks, mortar, cement structures, and a whole pile of dirt? Is that what we have to show? Is that what we've reduced things to now? And I'm sorry, no government official no go there we go tell me say they have not seen this. You all hang out at the beach. That's your favorite spot. Una no get no other side for hangout past them beach fronts than they. Them beach area than they. So day in, day out, weekend after weekend, month in, month out, year in, year out, una prefer for sit down at the dirty and deal with no title them instead of clean the space up and make sure say it's habitable for the next generation to come. Make sure say it's habitable for even for you, because some of them dirty than yaso where you they breed the toxicity in now in they cause certain diseases them. Yes, they are a contributing factor to certain diseases them where we already know for say we get very poor health infrastructures in the country. So why don't we do better? By eliminating some of these things, they become contributing factors to also aiding our health and wealth within the society. I don't always tell una say everything got a causal effect. These things are not silo things. They're all interconnected. One action they provoke a chain reaction to other things them. They're all interconnected. Nothing is separate. Una don't build fitty fatter for sure so una get money. I don't know what for what. Like nothing is regulated in that country. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. The diasporas themselves they come, see when they not go do na yaso. Now in them go na the same very Lonely Beach, then go do. I'm not absorbing you all from it because you all are contributing factors. Uswampa una don't go na the Ministry of Tourism and say, Mrs. Madam Ministry of Tourism or Ministry of Tourism, have you seen what is this? What's your plan to take care of? Look the dirty where a pile cover the sansan. I mean, this is disgraceful, honestly speaking. This is shameful, it's hurtful, it's disgraceful, and this is not the highest betrayal of self. Because this is self-sabotaging. One of una prime resources them, one of una prime revenues them, instead of una keep them, hold them with to hand, see what you've rendered it to. See what you've rendered it to. And you wonder why a lot of people and they get asthma. You wonder why make a lot of people and they get breathing problem at the society, and so on and so on and so forth. That's the answer right there. So, Madam Government, Madam Mayor, whoever needs to do something, please do something. We have to see tangible actions. Tangible actions. Una all no go sit down and then country, then they una all the road government agencies and parastatals, and una get the bold mind for tell me for say a place that you all frequent. A place that you all frequent, something has not triggered in you to say, no, this is wrong. Something must be done with this. Something must be done about this. This needs correction, and it needs correction now. You know, our forefathers, as grave as things were, they ensured we met something. So the onus is upon us to ensure that the generations, remember, not a generational, not a single, multiple generations behind us are left something worthy. Now there I go tap that one day for now. Now, I want to make we turn we eye to something else. Last week, the first week we look at, we lay the foundation. Last week we look at a country divided. Today we want to slowly go into a father's engagement. That is different engagement with the president, and your take on it, my take on it, because it's not about me alone, it's not about my views, it's a collective effort in understanding. You know, we cannot use words like Sierra Leone, never again, and if we don't understand wetin bring we to that place of saying never again, then the propensity of again is highly likely. Yeah, highly likely. So on the 10th morning, when the couscous begin, we get a reporter from BBC, when a Sierra Leonean, when a this report, I believe, either from McKinney or from Freetown. But don't quote me on this. Let's listen to what he reported and let's get into things.
It erupted in the capital, Freetown, and at least 2 other towns in the north of the country. Several people were killed, police officers as well as protesters. Police stations were attacked and set on fire, and public buses were also torched. The government imposed a curfew from 3 p.m. to stem the violence. For an update on the situation and for an understanding of what was behind the protest, let's talk now to Umaru Fofana, who reports for us from Freetown. Umaru, what's the situation like today?
Hi, Audrey. Well, things are much calmer. Some semblance of normalcy is back. Banks are open, albeit for shorter hours, but many shops are still closed for fear of the unknown. We had an internet shutdown with international telephone lines, also cut for much of last night into the morning. Curfew hours have been reduced and made much clearer now to start at 7 p.m. and end at 8 a.m. The President, Julius Maada Bio, who was away in London on a private visit, returned last night. While his foreign minister has been meeting with members of the diplomatic community here to assure them of safety and security, the president has been meeting his top security advisors, the army, the police, and the Office of National Security at State House. I went to the morgue, the central mortuary here. There were 7 bodies there, civilian bodies, as well as 2 police officers, the bodies of 2 police officers. And I'm told that 6 other civilian bodies are in the east end of town being brought to the central morgue. In total, we now have 6 police officers confirmed to have been killed yesterday and 21 civilians across the country, mostly, obviously, in the western area. We have Freetown East and in some parts of the north.
This, shocking as it is, didn't come out of a vacuum, did it? There had been calls, apparently, for people to stay at home on Monday and Tuesday and to take to the streets on Wednesday. Who was behind these calls? And would you say that, people were actually heeding them, or was there something brewing before anyway?
Well, there had been some talk about some protest, in the sense that people said they were coming out to demonstrate. But in terms of say that people should stay at home on Monday and Tuesday, there wasn't that call. The police said that those who asked that they wanted to demonstrate had not come forward. They referred to them as faceless. So clearly there was the impression that there would be a demonstration or a protest even, but nobody thought it would have got to the extent it turned out to be yesterday. So yes, there was, an inkling that it would happen. People didn't even go to work the day before, and then on the following day, what happened yesterday happened.
Right. Why were the police, at least 6 of them, attacked and killed? Are there specific grievances against them?
It's not exactly clear because yesterday, those police officers, of course, obviously the police force are yet to come out and tell us exactly the circumstances surrounding the deaths of those officers. But from social, media images which were verified, you had the impression that they were not a part of those who were really having the head-on confrontation, so to speak, with the protesters. One of them was attacked as he was leaving his workplace, overnight workplace. The other one was attacked in McKinney as he was riding on a motorbike going somewhere, and then he ran into the crowd. And then the others that were attacked in Kamakwie, indications are that the police said that they actually stormed their police station, touched it, and then they died. So they were killed. In terms of really whether the police were prepared for it or not, we do not know. But there had actually been this grievance against the police by some, mostly opposition supporters, who said that they don't allow them to protest, who said that they killed some of their supporters in McKinney, in the northern stronghold of the opposition, who said that they also killed some of their supporters in the fishing community of Tombo. That happened in the last 2 years, and there had actually been this grievance against the police.
So has the opposition responded to any of this? And in the midst of this, because, violence like this can flare up again, is anyone calling for political dialogue between the government, the opposition, and civil society structures?
Well, first of all, the main opposition APC party, whose strongholds are the areas where these protests happened, have completely distanced themselves from it. Their Secretary General spoke to me yesterday, and they issued a press release as well, saying that they had nothing to do with it, and they were mourning the loss of what they call, innocent lives. But clearly, in terms of civil society or somebody calling for calm, there has been a voice. He is the Deputy Minister of Information. He issued a WhatsApp audio message last night, and this is part of what he had to say.
We don't lost precious lives.
We have lost precious lives, and I think we are all grieving. To those who are suggesting that the president or the security forces should act tougher, I don't think that's the way forward in addressing our issues in Sierra Leone. What we need are the voices of well-meaning Sierra Leoneans within and outside government to help resolve these key and critical issues. They can include religious and political leaders and other eminent men and women. Even if we have a faceless group sponsoring this, we should not be taking a radical stance.
If we think we are having...
That's Solomon Jamiro, the Deputy Information Minister. Clearly, that's the only voice we've heard about this in public. The President is meeting now with the security chiefs. We don't know what will be his message later on when hopefully, if he addresses the nation.
Thank you very much, Umaru Fofana, keeping an eye on the situation in Sierra Leone.
Okay, as we hear Umaru Fofana, the INSEF cannot definitively put a finger on why the attack on policemen, why the protest. It gives speculations. It gives speculations them, but it not definitively call out the different reasons them as to why people felt the need to protest. Remember, I'm not going to go back on things that I have said. If you want to understand me take on the protests and the different actors of the protests, I categorize them into 3. Go back to part 1 and to part 2, then listen to part 3 before you say, hey Matilda, blah, 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 blah. But if you only listen to this part and you have not listened to the other 2, you are missing vital information, key informations then. Now, on that very morning of, as Umaru Fofana, they report the incidences and everything, the aftermath of everything we don't happen. The morning of the protest, when we started seeing gruesome images, them bad, Rombele, Ton Art, thing there, when we begin seeing on social media, someone came out and made a quick video asking for calm. We go play that video there, and that was the mayor of Freetown. Make we hear waiting him being say at that moment. So that's the 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes video. I'm not sure if that's the one. The mayor of Freetown. So while we wait for a technical team for load that video day, we're waiting on the technical team to load that. Load what the mayor had to say when we begin to see some images them we no tell well for we country, you know, being tell well for we at all, you know, tell well for we country at all. The mayor Canada, I believe, saying in a one time the first people them as a government official, because don't forget she is the mayor. She might be from the other side, but she still is the mayor, and therefore you know, is also considered a government official. So I just wait for a technical team for load the video day if they can. If they can. Just waiting on them. They are on a patient with too small, yeah. Yeah, so we will now listen to what the mayor said that morning.
Mina Yvonne Akisoya, Mayor of Freetown. 2 weeks ago, from the 25th of July to the 31st of July, the Steering Committee of Religious Leaders been called a week of prayer and fasting, then call we all, Muslims as well as Christians, for let we pray together for peace in our nation. Then do this because peace in any nation very important. I've been support that move they wholeheartedly, and I work with them behind the scenes for make that week of prayer and fasting happen. Day like today, the importance of peace nor can be overstated, because today in our city, Talek say with peace don't be completely shattered. My heart go out to all the one that we don't lost in life, to the one that we don't lost in loved ones, to the one that we in a hospital or injured, the one that we in detention, the one that we don't lost property, right across the city, members of the general public, as well as members of the security sector. We all na brother and sister, and we pain the pain na all man the feel am. I believe fully in peace, and I always stand against violence. I don't ever support violence, because I know say na peace now we need for make we able for go before. So day like today, like everybody else, I hear the frustrations them na social media of young people, of other people, and not just today. We don't hear it with people that they talk. But waiting I want for say to everybody, solution not come through violence. The only way we go get solution now where we stand together in an atmosphere of peace. So to that end day, I did tell me Freetonians there, we all, me brothers and me sisters them, say let we not put violence before. Let today be the end of the violence and let peace come back now we land. I don't call members of the government and I say to everyone now, this not about party, this not about people. We first and foremost not people. We first and foremost now in this city, Freetonians, but in this nation, Sierra Leoneans. I want to assure una all, say as the mayor, me go do my own part, who sign me able, who sign a my own mandate for work with all stakeholders, for make we focus on the things that really bring we together, as opposed to the things that really pull we apart. I pray again for the souls of the departed, and I ask to let Papa God give it peace.
So on that morning when all the kuskas been they happen, this, that, this na the message where the mayor input na do. And when the mayor put this message as soon as do, it appeal to all man, for peace, for make peace reign, for for make calm heads prevail, and make we not go down the path of total collapse. He also remember we all say we are Sierra Leonean first. We collectively we are people, and then we are Sierra Leonean. And there comes a time when we do not pay attention to politics or to party. We focus on who we are as a nation, and that is we are people and we are Sierra Leonean. Now, following that, one press release come out na do. That press release they come out from the cyber unit, and the cyber this now waiting the cyber unit been get for say. Remember say before this press release come out, Sierra Leone then bandwidth, then data, whatever, it then been done bring and can down to 5%. So the entire country then been done reduce to 5%. So people are not being able to connect again. Now I talk about what kill switches, because that's what they did, kill switch, right? Interruption of communication, back and forth and whatever for a brief period of time while they try to control the dialogue, control, what's going on. But like I also said last week, I think say the reason why make it not last for days is because I'm sure they would have remembered the sanction levied on Togo, where Togo do that day, couple of years back, and how they were sanctioned by ECOWAS. So knowing that precedent has been set on such actions already, they had no other option but to bring back the internet connectivity and hereby allowing flow of communication speedily. But this nine come out because of all the images then, because saturation of information, not to all information where you are in a good information. Some information and they then based on agenda, depending on the agenda, depending on the gains, or depending on the goals or objectives then, right? So everything sometimes gets something behind them. Everything sometimes gets something behind them. So this come out na do from the National security. This now on the 11th. Now we don't pass everything from the 10, the 8, the 9, the 10. Now we dey inside the 11 they go. Remember, say my promise to you guys is however long it takes for make we go through this jeje step by step and understand what brought us to 8 to 10. What happened after 8 to 10 determines how we as a people, you know, as humans, as Sierra Leoneans, you know, they talk about Patia, so now as Sierra Leonean move together in unison. So this press release here so come out na do. The press release we come out na do from, I think say na the cyber something ba una can sabi the place themselves pass some of we na the presenters them of the information. So on the 12th of August, the National Cyber Security Coordination Center come out with this press release. On the 11th, sorry, I say the National Cyber Security Coordination Center, in collaboration with the Ministry of Information and Communication and the security sector, wants to bring to the notice of the general public that according to Section 51, subsection 1 of the Cyber Security and Crimes Act 2021, any individual or group of individuals who engage in acts related to cyber terrorism commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment not less than 10 years and not exceeding 20 years. Also, Section 49(1) indicates that anyone who aids in the act, such as this instance is the, I think they meant to say in the spreading of incendiary information on social media platform to destabilize the state, also commits the same crime. And they go on to say, in view of the above, government has now put mechanism in place for a robust monitoring of the social media space and platforms that can be accessed by Sierra Leonean. The government therefore wishes to draw the public's attention to this and warns the public that anyone who is caught in the sharing of such information shall face the full consequences of the law. National Security Coordination. But you see, they say they use the word terrorism. They use the word terrorism and they use the word, you know, slandering or incendiary information. But they did not go to drill down what they mean by these. Last week I shown the definition of what terrorism means. And today maybe I might also show the difference between terrorism and incendiary information, inflammatory information. Now, this was a mechanism to control information, tighten the information space, monitor and control. So it was a crackdown on information at the time. That was a measure that the government put in place. However, within this the measure, they not create how they call them limitation. They not put parameters and say we consider this. They use a very broad and dangerous term, which as of current, they don't pull back from using that word. They went at the word terrorism Instead, I think now they use the word incitement, because to use the word terrorism on your nation, you being part of that nation also means that you are a terrorist. So in as much as you dey point the finger, say people within the state are terrorists or acted in terrorist-like manner, because you blanket slate everybody, it mean for say, by implication, you self don't put yourself inside. But there was something beautiful that emerged after. There was something beautiful that emerged after, where even to date as I speak, I believe is the most unifying voice that has spoken thus far about the said issue. But before we go there, make we listen to wetin the papa of the nation, when at the president of the nation, what was his reaction? Because remember, everything the president say is a policy statement. All right? In reaction, wetin he say at that present moment sets the stage and the tone for everything else that follows. It no matter if you dey try for bring cohesion, inclusion, whatever afterwards, but what you say at that departure point bears so much weight that you have to be very sensitive in how you deliver and how you say it, especially in an environment with such heightened tension and divide. Make we listen to wetin the president in say. This was, people say this was his first time in addressing the issue. I say wrong. This was his second time in addressing the issue. The first time he made reference to the issue was through his Twitter page while he was still in London. When he came to Sierra Leone, few hours or 24 hours or 48 hours after he came, then he addressed the nation. That was the second time he officially engaged with the issue. Make we listen.
Fellow Sierra Leoneans, today I greet you with a heavy heart. Let us mourn for and pray to God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to grant eternal peace to our police officers and other citizens who were violently killed on the 10th of August 2022. On that day, the peace, security, and stability of this nation was shattered by persons whose insurrection was premeditated, well-planned, financed, and executed with shocking brutality. Before August 10th, they had severally identified themselves on social media as APC warriors, PPP, and persons who are determined to capture political power, even at the cost of hundreds of lives. For some time now also, some politicians have been raising tension with divisive language and threats to make this country ungovernable. Their known surrogates and associates have stated that they will continue to illegally use violence to unseat the democratically elected government. The events of August 10 were a clear statement of their collective intent. The Constitution and laws of the Republic not only guarantee the right to free speech and peaceful protest, but also provides applicable restrictions. As in all democracies, the right to peaceful protest should be exercised by identifiable persons, and it should not threaten public safety and peace. The right to protest should not be expressed as a right to violently murder police officers, burn down police stations, and disturb the peace of our country. Clearly, this was not a peaceful protest. The unrest occurred only in parts of Makeni, Binkolo, Magburka, Kamakwie, Lungi, Western Rural, Eastern Freetown, and towards PZ in Freetown. There were no protests in all other parts of the country, including large parts of Freetown. This was not a protest against the high cost of living occasioned by the ongoing global economic crisis. The chant of the insurrectionists was for a violent overthrow of the democratically elected government. The killings and destructions targeted police officers and public and private properties associated with the government. Theirs was not a protest about measures undertaken by the government to handle the challenges brought on by the global economic crisis. Let's be reminded that since COVID-19 struck, government has undertaken specific economic mitigation, recovery, and resilience measures that have kept essential food items and fuel on the market, kept businesses running, maintained public services, and regularly paid monthly salaries. In fact, government has reduced fuel and transportation prices twice in the last month alone. This is in addition to other social safety payments and cash transfers to poor and vulnerable populations and microfinance loans to women and youth. The government is expanding skills development and vocational educational opportunities and creating jobs in various sectors of the economy, especially in mining in the northern province, and small-scale manufacturing in other parts of the country. Government had also undertaken large-scale efforts towards food security and kept its free quality school education and healthcare priorities on course. This insurrection, which was executed by clearly identified partisans using the cover of follow-on crowds, including children, was characterized by targeted killings, wanton looting, and destruction of property. It was not a peaceful cost of living protest. This was simply an attack on the peace and security, an attack on the rule of law, an attack on democracy. In addition to the overarching objective, the attacks were meant to violently disrupt the daily and normal activities and lives of ordinary Sierra Leoneans. To the international community, it was meant to present Sierra Leone as a place where law and order has completely broken down. Government will not sit idly by for such persons to disturb the peace of this nation and derail the gains we are making in this nation. The full force of the law will be brought to bear on all those persons who attacked and killed police officers. They, their sponsors, and their collaborators will not go unpunished. There will also be a full investigation into the death of ordinary citizens who lost their lives in this senseless violence incited by those unknown persons. In the coming weeks and months, government will undertake necessary security actions meant to guarantee the peace and security of all citizens. While these may cause some unavoidable inconveniences, government's action will guarantee all constitutional rights and freedoms of peaceful citizens. The security forces will and must act with great restraint and within their professional codes of service. But be assured that my government will crack down hard on violent insurrectionists, their collaborators, their sponsors, and their supporters. My government will relentlessly fight those who would rather use terror and gruesome violence to achieve political goals. As president, I urge every peace-loving Sierra Leonean to be mindful that our national unity, peace, and stability are essential for our survival as a nation. Let us continue to respect all the laws of Sierra Leone and remain law-abiding. Just over 20 years ago, we turned our backs on using violence to resolve our differences. We have since made great progress to consolidate our democracy. My government has made effort to open up spaces for dialogue and peace. Bintu Mani 3 was meant to bring all parties together to forge a pathway to peace and national cohesion. Since then, we have established the National Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. We have removed obnoxious, seditious libel laws, and Sierra Leone has made great improvements in global press freedom rankings. No journalist is imprisoned for the practice of journalism. There are traditional and community leaders, youths, and community groups through which citizens can express their views. My government has maintained open dialogue with civil society organizations and international partners. Government also assures the right to peaceful protest as long as groups and their leadership identify themselves and work within the existing laws of Sierra Leone. Peaceful protesters will be fully protected by law enforcement officials. My government has further undertaken progressive reforms to guarantee fundamental constitutional rights and freedoms, create opportunity, and ensure gender empowerment and equality. The dates for democratic elections have been announced over a year in advance, and political parties are free to organize peacefully and present policies to citizens of this nation. Fellow citizens, let me close by expressing deep condolences to bereaved families. We will fully investigate all deaths as a result of this violent insurrection. As a government, we will honor the police officers who were murdered with a civic funeral in respect of their service to this nation. Their deaths shall not be in vain, and we will bring their killers and those responsible for their deaths to justice. I thank you, and may God bless the Republic of Sierra Leone.
Sorry. I muted myself by accident. Sorry, guys. So now this the president been get for say on in second official address to the nation following the couscous wey been take place na the nation. By the way, guys, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to follow, don't forget to give me stars. And I no go just can't sit down, they watch me, they watch me, they watch me, then I know they do small things. Those small things help and promote the show and promote the program. So please do small thing, like, love, share, subscribe, follow. I'm not we're not asking for much, but those little things that we will appreciate, I will appreciate. Yeah. So anyways, going back to the president in speech, now this the president been get for say again. I talk say the protest will happen three categories of actors them they inside it. And I would have loved to see how the president take into consideration then three categories of actors then they. Remember, if when I go back to me other series them talk on shows them on this series what they do, I talk say there were those who intended to protest because tin truly mourn them. And their intent now for can talk to engage with government, having the right to protest, like government self don't say na so. People have the right to protest, but it should be done within within the purview of the law. True, but that doesn't mean that they do not have the right to protest. They have the right to protest. Police get also the onus for make sure say they are safeguarded, the protesters are safeguarded, properties and lives are preserved at the same time. Yeah. I been for make the president, like I say, acknowledge then three categories of people them. Remember the three categories of people that we may identify. One, people with intent, meaning that intent to protest because truly they had something to say and they feel like that is the best avenue for them to air their views. Second, people are people them with opportunity. So the opportunist, the intent, the opportunist. So people that will use the situation for can inside them people and they and do nefarious bad things them. And then the third group of people them, now people them where they in between, they're not get nothing for do with the protests. They're not people them we want to use the situation for do bad thing them, but they just happen to be in the middle. Like where government say go about your business, do what you want for do, or they sit down at the house. We know of people where they sit down at the house where stray bullets meet them and then die. So in addressing this, I've been for see the president address the whole body, the entirety of it, and not just a segment of it. The president said this was a premeditated, well-planned, well-sponsored collaboration between people of the opposition, or no, he not say people of the opposition, he says sympathizers of the opposition. Now, I don't work in intelligence in Sierra Leone, so therefore I say this again. I say this with a little bit of hesitation to say, how at that time could the president have identified to say these people identify themselves as sympathizers of the opposition? From everything where me as a media presenter person don't read, right? As a news and political analyst and whatever don't read, I don't see anywhere as the president identified the PPP the people's political, I not even sabi the name self, so make I not call am straight. I not even know wetin the third P stand for. So I go get for look am up again for call the name properly. I haven't seen anywhere where they said that they are people's power in politics. That's how they call this their movement. They call themselves people's power in politics. I don't read any site. And please, if there are evidence to the fact, we would like to see this. Contact the VOS show and show us where somebody says, where the, not or even somebody, because anybody can spew any garbage, but where officially this organization, the heads of this organization come out and say, we the people's power in politics, we are sympathizers of the opposition. Because I think say as a president for make that kind blanket statement there, I don't think it was the most agreeable thing to do at that time. Because right now, you don't blanket slate an entire people or body of people belonging to a group where they get right for belong to as sympathizers of the opposition. Whereas the opposition themselves, where you say then they sympathize with, come out and say, we have no affiliation with this set group of people. We are not behind the calamity or whatever that took place. We are not in alignment with them, and therefore we have no business with them, and condemn the act that took place. Yeah. He say the Cuscas now be a blatant attempt for bring down in government, for overthrow in government. People can chant any garbage in you know, in an environment of protest. They can say, people are free to say anything. But waiting me go like for see clear evidence that demonstrates actions on that day. Because you remember, you cannot say something just because somebody chanted something. Like what happened at the Capitol on J6 in America, we clearly see Usai President Trump, he make a speech and ask the people that make them go take over Capitol. There is clear evidence to show, and as to how things disintegrated from then on. Yeah. So, Migolek for also see clear evidence where demonstrates tangible actions where demonstrates say, here are the actions that shows that the aim or objectives of the set of people was to overthrow or dismantle or disintegrate my government. When I see what here they talking, we need for see clear action, clear tangible evidence. Just because somebody say babuyai Matilda, or Matilda you feel babu, or you were all like trouble, they are free to say it. But in their saying, if they do something now towards my personhood for bring about me looking like war like trouble, then I show clear actions of my words. I hope so you understand what they say. I agree absolutely with the president where he say what has waiting burning down of private properties, businesses, government institution get for do with a protest. It has absolutely nothing, because the destruction of properties, in as much as we can see them as part of big protest system where people them aggrieved, does not mean that it is justified. So absolutely nothing. But it also say that you know, politicians then sponsor people them and they have an ammunition. Now we don't come for no clearly say the picture of the person with ammunition that was showed, that was framed, captured and framed. You know, not for say Photoshop. We have come to know that this person don't die since 2010 in Nigeria. And he was not even a Sierra Leonean, he was a Nigerian rapper who's been dead for over 10 years. But yet his pictures was placarded all over the world, insinuating that he was part of the protesters and that he carried a gun, he carried ammunition. And that was one of the justification given during a CNN interview as to why the police and the security forces fired live ammunition on protesters. The question we for continue for ask is that, was the reaction commensurable to the action? Me not to me go answer that question there for the president or for in people then. As far as I am concerned, the people that surrounds the president and the president by himself studied peace and reconciliation. So in no waiting at the talk about when I go into peace building theory, right? When I go into peace building theory and peace building policies, and I ask the question right off the bat, is the reaction commensurable to the action? Was there a reason for the police to have fired live bullets on civilians who were pelting stone? The reaction, live bullets. The action, pelting of stones. That is up to you all to answer. I am not going to answer that. It talk about the global crisis, the effect of the global crisis on the economy. Yes, every economy around the world is strained. Britain, 40% increase on their energy bill. Canada, you know, with all the inflation, no pay raise. America, they self they get the young. Sri Lanka, Pakistan, flooding, whatever country I can name. Everybody gets their own little bit when they go through. Yeah? But at the same time, depending on how you communicate, how you reason, nadande they make people they act cool and walk with you. Or nadande back go make people they act flare up and you get a reaction from them. I don't think what happened on the 10th was simply an attempt to destabilize the rule of law. And I go continue for make that justification. They using my three actors, you know, out and column hypothesis, using my three actors reasoning. That's it. Using my three actors reasoning, I will continue for make that. So the president also talk about, you know, people them also they say why was so much emphasis laid on the policeman them we die as opposed to the civilians them. And I'm not going to run deeply again because I already don't give reason for say listen, no one life is superior to the other. Yeah. Before these people became policemen wearing a symbol, which is their uniform, that's a symbol, that's what makes them a policeman, that's what makes people recognize them as a policeman, so now a symbol. Before they wear that symbol, they were first of all humans. And then Sierra Leonean, born within a country called Sierra Leone. And then they became a police officer representing a symbol. When police officers die in active duty, the state normally gives them, honors their work by giving them a state funeral. So me not get any qualms about that. The state did what a state should do when a police person or when a person in service, in duty, die in active service. Because let's be honest, these policemen, in as much as they were gruesomely killed or whatever, and also the police shoots people them and kill them back gruesomely, they died in active service as a reason of the uniform, the symbol them way they wear. That's what make their death different from that of the civilian. But that does not make their death any more superior or any more significant than the entirety of the people them were lost in life. I hope so I get this. Now, before we go forward, the phone lines are open, by the way. I don't want to make as soon as the show they're done and then the phone lines begin come on. The phone lines are open. Now, before we go forward, phone lines, when I get the toll-free number and display 1-866-944-7722 and UK +442 80891455, Australia +61 2909843337, and then if all else fails, you get WhatsApp when at 1-343995828. So now, as this thing they go, people will want to say, but Matilda, why did you go to the president's speech before this one? It was important for me because remember I said everything lays a foundation. Everything lays a foundation. Now we go to one of the most embarrassing interviews that I've ever seen on CNN by, I believe it was, he is the youth minister, the minister of youth and sports, because he was the first person outside of Umaru Fofana and the BBC reporting journalist that was sent into Sierra Leone during the couscous, where they interview as a government official. And that was the deputy minister or minister of youth. CNN. I hope our yes, that's the one. So make we listen to setting the stage and why narratives are very important, and why sometimes when we in a tumultuous situation like this, why you forget all your facts and information, right? Especially when you are talking to an international body, and therefore you get visibility, and waiting you the amplification, the reach out, the exposure of waiting you say very, very high. You for make sure say you come prepared and your facts checked. Make we listen to waiting this person say.
I had the interview, the previous speaker was saying, mission action, and that's unfortunate. So, like I said, a couple of days ago, you have young people being planned, members financing them. They've been in this for quite so long. I went right across these areas. They're suspected of they're mobilizing. I went there for the past couple of days to ensure that we talked to them to see reason why nobody should finance you, nobody should take you to the state for their own selfish interests. And I did that for the past couple of days, up to the day before the riot, the act itself. It's unfortunate that such things happen.
You know, you say that the opposition incited the youth, but they're saying they want the government to actually do something about the economic situation. They accuse your government of corruption as well. You, in turn, have described the officers that died as brutalized, but we can see from the video that those protesters, there was no medical aid rendered to them, and that in some cases, security forces used live ammunition. Why the heavy-handedness at this hour?
Sorry, you call that a heavy hand. What will you say about those servicemen that took to this lives and property that were murdered, brutalized, killed, especially the female young servicemen that were killed? I mean, it's unfortunate to see that police are using live firearms. What would you say about the police that were killed?
So I see, though, that you're not denying that they're not trying to calm these crowds necessarily, that they are using live ammunition to protect themselves in many cases. And I do hear you that 8 officers in your estimation were killed. Listen, another question we need to get to here is, where is your president? Is he in London? And if so, is he returning? Have you spoken with him?
You already know, somebody just said that the president is missing action. That's really unfortunate. That the president is MIA. You know where the president has to be.
Have you spoken to him? Is he in the country, and is he returning?
The president within the country. It surprised me to say that, to hear from you saying the president is MIA. It's unfortunate, but I mean, the firearm, did you see young people carrying firearms? Why did you turn that to the police that they weren't using firearms? I can't justify that, but there are pictures, videos. Young people carrying live firearms shooting.
And of course, I understand it was a volatile situation there on the ground, but we are seeing young people who were also hurt, you admit, by live ammunition, who aren't being rendered any medical aid whatsoever.
Those young people might be hurt by these people are not trained. If you give them arms, so if the police really use heavy arms on them, but one thing I'm sure of is that young police officers, including female police officers, were killed, brutalized, mercilessly. It's really unfortunate.
I want to return to the issue of your president, though. You're saying he is in the country. If he is, why haven't we heard from him?
I mean, he'll come online when it's necessary for him to come online.
Wouldn't it be necessary now? The country is obviously fearing for their lives. There's a curfew on. They can't even hope to get the basic necessities of life.
That's not the reason for the protest. That's not the reason for the protest. This is a well-planned, financed, orchestrated terrorism act against the state, financed by the members of the All People's Congress. Why we have 16 political districts in Sierra Leone? Young people were moved from one district to the very areas that they want to demonstrate. Yeah? Why is it that it's only... Yes,
I just want to get back to the issue of the president. You're saying he is in country, and that he will speak to the country in what, the hours to come, the days to come? One would think they'd want to hear from him now.
I didn't say so. He will talk to the nation when it's up to him. He will talk to the nation when and how necessary. It might be tomorrow, it might be today, it might be in the near future.
But he is in the country. Just want to get that clear because we're having communication problems. But he is in the country. He is not in London.
Excellency the President is MIA, but I know very well when His Excellency the President is.
Okay, unfortunately, we have to leave it there.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for us to say that His Excellency the President is MIA. I say young people do protest.
Mr. Bangura, I'm sorry, I'll have to leave it there, and I apologize to our audience for the technical difficulties, but we did try as best we can.
Okay, so again, no offense to the minister, but that was one of the most unprofessional interviews I have seen on international. You're given a chance to be on an international platform. You were not in the middle of the chaos. Yeah, you not been there usai kuskas they happen. If you been there usai kuskas they happen, and we had difficulty hearing you, we had trouble hearing you, we had difficulty in communications and network system, then they on 100%. We're not even ask questions. But when these international, when they contact you, and they contact you at least, if nothing when they happen immediately, then get and contact people and wait and they contact. There's a caller on the line. Let me take the caller and I'll come back to this. Caller, wait till your name and also you the call for.
Alamin.
Hello, caller.
I just want to tell you thank you for this great work they do for Mama Salone. This incident on August 8th is actually unfortunate. What we see happen, people that we die, let God sorry for them because they are all Sierra Leoneans. They lost their life for things. If we get governments that we responsible, I feel say this kind of thing don't happen. We all don't see waiting don't they happen. This thing not just happen August 8th. People not just grab August 8th and come out. And I two key issues them. We make really people and come out. One we go put her under economic issues, the other one social issues. We really don't they affect people and seriously. And the way how government again themselves they handle their issues there, I feel say this make the people and themselves then grow angry. At least for come out and express what really don't they monitor them. So I believe say this will be an opportunity if a government now be a government where they listen and let them for be done, provide the avenue so that these people come out and listen to the people. You see, but it's rather unfortunate. We the day na them party at the wall, we ABC, we na foreigners them. We they come out because of things they see they happen in our country. When we go vent. We frustration. We know they get any problem about that. We see even we foreign minister. Look how the presentation we them be do na the embassy na state house or the foreign office na Sierra Leone. Whereby they see how they censor, what them feel say yes. Now in the one portray to the international community. But now we they see waiting they come up now. You understand? As if when this thing be happen, no civilian not die. Now only police then die. I think that will be the message where them people be the portray. And also the words where then they play with, really good for we as Sierra Leoneans, the way they live now the outside world. You see, it's so rather unfortunate because we get leaders them when they talk see Salone name they don't well na the international world. Then they come out for the brand we country. And they also the term we now as terrorists, really unfortunate. You see, for we Sierra Leoneans, how the world would they look at we? But maybe some of we, they're not go take away all. I believe say then where they make their utterances, then then the international world go look like say them people are not know what they do. Because if they know what then what's then they mean. I feel said enough for they use them kind of words then at the international media. You see, look today where too they see people that come out now America, yeah. They say they come out for let them extradite this guy Adebayo for waiting for justice for police. These are the things that when people have done they come out. You see, and this are the problem. This way, even the TRC, one of the issues that will come up from the TRC. You see, not for peace, not justice we need. Without justice, all things and they know they happen. Equal opportunities. You see. Okay, sir. Okay. I thank you now very well.
Okay, thank you very much, Kola. So, like I've been they say, we see an interview before, right? Before that interview, they remember timelines. I know say I play the president in speech, but this interview take place before the president in speech. Now in communication, this is what you call amplification, setting the stage setting and amplification. Yeah, you get certain keywords then when are you they use for set the stage even before the main person come, and when the main person come, when he use the same word, then those words are amplified. Yeah. So what in una see before even the president at the can address, una see the minister of international relations or international affairs engage the diplomatic corps. Wetin he say with the engagements na the diplomatic corps. One of in key message wetin he say when the diplomatic call them, ask them about their security and stability. He tell them say if it causes us to put on military uniforms as civilians to defend you, that is what we will do. We will put on military uniforms as civilians to defend you if that is what we need to do. That is one of the message from all of the questioning them with the diplomatic corps. That was a very pivotal moment, that particular answer there. Setting tone, setting stage, setting languaging, stage setting in readiness for amplification. I will hold my thoughts because I won't forget the next caller, and then I will continue my thought from Usai and left and right now. Caller, waiting on your name and Usai they call from.
Hi, concerned citizen, how are you doing? I'm good evening, thank you. Okay, I call from the USA.
Okay.
Are you hearing me, sir?
Yes, go ahead with the you.
Okay. I tell you, I'll thank you. This Buhara, we will go through a Salone today are due to lack of leadership problem. Remember one time this president we should not pray for good leader. We make one presentation to the ministers in our state house. I give that statement. We really and truly will need a good leader. It's sad, it's really unfortunate, it's pathetic. As he claims say all our judicial libel law, death penalty, blah blah blah. You don't do all that in a day, they go outside, work in the image. Only the brown people that is citizens they call them this name here. It's undone. Call them terrorists. This is now cool, they overthrow them, short the shots. You see that kind of thing and a third world country don't be. To be honest, sir, this one is percentage. Although we see just protesters, or demonstrate, or demonstration due to lack of incompetency of the authorities who will take up responsibility. Because this thing is not like it just come from the blues. From the 8, the 9, onto the 10. I think from June, July, I think I begin to talk about this thing. But then they downplay the thing and the wishy-washy thing. It's unfortunate. This how what you don't how the experience we don't get what you don't come out to go. By yellow the evidence here you don't like some play down. Or like I said, the government not take people as serious. Respect the citizen there. And just take them more like say, more especially people are in Northwest. Sad, it's pathetic. From day one, they don't segregate this country, they don't divide the country. Where you make measure of all that into money, all that bull crap thing. Nana Batisha Basisa Michael tell them what's not the real problem. They choose not for listening. They ignore the whole down. Simple as that. This just injustice will go on in this country. Oppress people, suppress people. At a time like this, where the country hard, like where it has when things are hard, then I inflict pain and suffering in people. All this anger and people boil up, cook up for you. How much hypocritical address them? Believe say yes, you presidential guard, they can take up anything, come in, send them like any. You take people like any guinea pig or any, that's what they call people in Rwanda, the cockroaches there. We now look at the label, terrorists, say when they say terrorists, the whole world don't like terrorists, nobody like terrorists. A bad thing. You can imagine that. What you go on there now, they don't show you picture the images there, pass minutes. Nobody, all guns, get bombed, they go try for go see, they go patrol. How dare not say the democracy citizens there they can protest for petition of government. They're not saying say let's come out. If you the president really and truly if you get dignity, you get pride, if you don't shame you resign, then you'll continue to go to election. But you don't go do that deal. Because you talk all kind statements, all kind contradict statement. Thank you, my boss. Sorry for the time.
Okay. So thank you very much, caller. So remember also I left, now they continue. So the staging. So waiting the Minister of Foreign Affairs do, he sets the scene. Yeah, he sets the stage for what's about to come. Now that make them press statements, then they press them the initial engagements, then they when something like this they be. It's very important for make we listen, make we pay attention to the narrative, because then narrative then they inform what is to come. And if you not listen, David Francis he answers them. Bring and come to the interview from this, me don't know if na minister or deputy minister of youth, where his background was so noisy, so unprofessional, so whatever during his interview. Half of the time, not even make people able, focus on what they said because of what was going on in his in his background. But here is what he said. He made some serious accusations. Then he said, I go back, listen to in words, then I make I say setting the stage. Listen to David Francis in engagement. Calm, particularly so, leading on to the president's speech. Listen to what in this one also say na international media. It's a killing of police officers, brutal killing of police officers. It completely disregard the killing of civilians. It says civilians were armed, armed and killing police officers. It go on for say the exact word using the exact same way in the exact same frame. It says premeditated, well-planned, state-sponsored premeditated, well-planned, sponsored, and then it go on for use one extra word when the president in pull back. The president in say opposition sympathizers, because at that point they realize that, listen, we have made claim to which we do not have affirmative evidence to show to the world. If an international community can right now and say, show us clear evidence that the opposition sponsored, collaborated, and initiated this, they knew that there was no way they could have. There was no way. So income na the first CNN interview, it say financed by the APC. I don't know if you understand it. He clearly stated, say this was premeditated, well planned, and financed by the APC. Usai, in your words, slightly changed from that of the president. He say opposition sympathizers. But when you look at the words that the president used and the words that he had used in that interview, you can put them like this, mirror each other, almost identical. So now see, this is where I call pre-staging for amplification. So another thing where na of notes na yaso of whatever, where it don't give all of the excuses then done, it say and female police officers were murdered, were brutally killed. Now, if we were to go back and say, show us evidence of a female police officer that was killed during this riot, they are known to show. Because as it turned out, this female police officer, where them in the alleged say that during the protest it died, turned out this female officer has been ill, it don't sick for a while, and just coincidentally happened for die that same day where the riot been take place. And so they scapegoated her, they used her as a tool, say to the point where the person in Mama now Canada and say, please let me bury my child in peace. My child has nothing to do with all of this that is going on. She was sick. God decided for taking life that day. So make we not can put them inside. That is why I say research, especially for someone of his caliber. Then for don't do proper research, proper investigation. You no need for overdo and overtalk. Just say what needs to be said. Like let the evidence guide the interview. Yeah, let the evidence guide the interview. But waiting it do it over amplified, and in the process made remarks them that cannot be substantiated. It's not a good look. It's not, especially in the face of something like this. It is not a good look at all. And then the president say, I don't put all the laws there, I don't open the space, I don't. But if you repeal one law for bring back another law where even in at face value seem okay, but when you begin drill deep down, when you do a nosedive, you begin find out this law might even be more frightening than the law where it will come on. You say to date, no journalist has been in prison for doing their work. That may be true, but are there journalists who are being chased, or who preparations and inquisitions have been made on because of their work, because their work does not starkly align or starkly agree with your view? So not about imprisonment no more, not about when you open the space, let the space be a real opening. Because there are evidence to show that international journalists, please don't get the two confused, because there are people with credential who do what they do, who are trained to do what they do. And I'm talking about the people with credential who do what they do and who are trained to do what they do. Just because your views don't tally with theirs, your views don't align with them, just because their work doesn't favor your image, doesn't mean you hunt them. Because then that defeats the purpose of you saying, I have created the space. If the space is created, then let it be used for the purpose for which it was created. So regarding these two scenarios, I did it deliberately so that I can go back and show una, juxtapose and show una the two starkly, for make we see exactly wetin they go on. And we have to understand these things, understand this narrative, understand how they are set, and why at some point then get certain implications then. So immediately we see the president come out with his speech, and then following that, shortly after, we see the change of guards. We see the changing of guards. It was a very swift, change of guards immediately following his speech. And if when then thing and they happen, and the timing of how it happens, and when it happens, it almost seems as if, I smell foul. I smell a rat. I smell something. That's something we might not be able to touch on today. We might not know as of right now. I would say give it till December, January. That something will start to become apparent, will start to become clearer in our eyes. From everything I have studied about, the Sierra Leone political space, environment, there is always a something behind a something that causes a something to become a something, or to not become a something that later on becomes a something. I know say this English here, so for some man and then go say, hey Matilda, if you not talk deep Creole, na some kind English no more, I go put pampos, we go scatter pussy. It do not be a me. We see this press release will come out on the 12th. Yeah? It says Government of Sierra Leone, Office of the President, 12th August 2022. The general public is hereby informed that it has pleased His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces Brigadier General Dr. Julius Maada Bio to announce the following. Major General Peter K. Lavahun, promoted to Lieutenant General and appointed Chief of Defense Staff. We mean say the Chief of Defense Staff at that point is no more. Brigadier General Dauda Alpha, promoted to Major General and appointed as Commander Joint Force. Brigadier General Christian F. Moray, promoted to Major General and appointed Chief of Staff, Ministry of Defense. Brigadier General Abubakar Conte, appointed Assistant Chief of Defense Staff. Colonel Michael S. Kamara, promoted to Brigadier General and appointed Assistant Chief of Defense Staff. Captain Navy Philip J. Johanna, promoted to Commodore and appointed Assistant Chief of Defense Staff. Group Captain John S. A. Bondo, promoted to Air Commodore and appointed Assistant Chief of Defense Staff. Lieutenant General Selu I. Sise, retired. Brigadier General Lonnie B. Harlington, retired. Brigadier General Joseph Esa Kai Mapong, I hope I got that name right, or Kai Mapong retired. So he retired 3 generals. Now listen up, 3 brigadier generals. Keep these 3 names in mind. Make we dey go, and make we dey see how the breeze go blow. That's all I will say on that. I'll take the caller. Caller, waiting your name and no say the call from. Retired. So retired 3 generals. Okay, so caller, you need for doll you said to say they listen because they give me feedback. Keep these 3 names in mind.
Okay.
Okay, so we lost the caller. I'm sure the caller will come back. So like I say, so there was a change of guards. There was a change of gatekeepers. You don't change guard and gatekeepers like that. Just like that. 3. Boom, 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 boom. High ranks. And not to bobo them all. I like by them. Boom. So here is what I say. For the next 9 months, remember these names. And when there is a resurfacing, or when the wind blows, then we would come back to it. Now, as we close the program, and I know for say the program at 2 hours, not to so, we won't go beyond the 2 hours. We have to maintain discipline and order. As we close the program, following the president's speech, something they were maybe done the call for. Personally, I think I've been calling for it for the past 4.5 years. 4.5 years. When a constant engagement with the different actors and stakeholders within the nation, within the republic. So we see the president go, engage on a series of engagements with different actors and stakeholders, like, journalists, the Association of Journalists, the Association of Lawyers, civil society, religious leaders, this, that, tribal heads, paramount chiefs, you name it, and you name it. He engaged with all of these people. These are key engagements. These are engagements that we always for don't they in place. Where there should always be an open relationship, open door policy between all of these stakeholders. But that hasn't been the case. And that alone can contribute to a breakdown in society. But more importantly in this engagement, what I am yet to see, which is vital and key to reconciliation, social cohesion, change, until that time for when it is legitimate for the people to then say, either you have done a good job and so therefore we give you a green mark, or we are dissatisfied with you and so therefore we give you a red X. Are your oppositions. No matter how you think or feel about them, collectively they make up a body of politicians that afforded you, to some extent, the rulership. So, Mr. President, sometimes the day where they say, you know that word, vex take, no vex left. This is the hour when you get for vex take and no vex left. I go to the caller. Caller, waiting on your name and also you the call for.
I'm name John, and I'm calling from Italy.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I want to start by saying, I'm not a political affiliate, because we are living in a country. Even though I'm living out of Sierra Leone, but consider myself a Sierra Leonean. We live in a country where politics is so toxic that if you don't give an opinion that is favor to the other person will look at you as somebody that doesn't understand anything about the political system of the country. That being said, Albert Einstein said, the world won't be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who stand by and watch them do evil without doing anything. I personally feel like, it is very unpatriotic to not condemn the July 12th protest as a violent protest, as a protest that was orchestrated by the opposition leaders. Because if the protest, as it has been depicted by the opposition leaders, if it was a protest, against the hardship of the country, there's no way it should have been violent like the way it was. Now, it is crystal clear that people were incited because the inciters, like the guy that is living in Holland, he knows, I don't know if he knows, but he knows very well that the hardship that is going on in the country was not triggered by bad governance of BIO's president, of BIO's government, but by the international crisis, especially the one that is going on in Ukraine. That is something that is very obvious to people that are educated, because maybe, the guy that is, that is inciting people is not educated, so he doesn't know anything that is going on around the world. But it is crystal clear to everyone that the hardship that is going around the world right now, even here in Italy, like prices of commodities are skyrocketing. That is something that is happening everywhere in the world. But like, if you listen, even I've never listened to his audios, but if you listen to his audios, I challenge you that none of his audios has something to talk about the crisis that is going on in Ukraine, that is triggering the hardship that is going on in Sierra Leone. None of that. If you tell people that their hardship is being caused by the bad governance of the day, then what do you expect people to do? Like the people that went there and then did something terrible to people, businesses, kill police officer. They are victims too, because they've been brainwashed. They have been brainwashed, and those people don't have access to direct to mainstream medias. They don't have access to mainstream media. So only those that example, people like you, that you have a platform, that you can reach to people and tell them exactly what is going on. But if you tell people that you're suffering because of, the president is on excessive traveling abroad, that is not, making any impact to the development of the country, then how do you think people should expect? People will look at the president as it's being responsible for their hardship, when that is not true. There is an interruption of supply, of global supply chain. Like, for example, let me give an example. Today, the price of fuel, Brent crude oil fuel per barrel is about $96 to $95, per barrel. Now, imagine if that price sold to $130. How do you expect people to sell fuel in Sierra Leone? Is the government and the sitting table where prices are being negotiated, or when prices are being fixed? No. This is something with the crisis, the hardship we are facing in the country is something, it is being triggered by international crisis. We have to tell the people of Sierra Leone about this. We shouldn't be, you shouldn't be there like in the opposition. Anyway, I know that I've run out of time. Thank you. Maybe I'll call back later.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller, for thank you very much, caller, for your contribution. Like I say, everybody has their views, everybody has their opinions on things, and one thing I always strongly encourage is divergence of opinion, divergence of view. done respectfully and respectably. We can agree to disagree on many things here and there, but one thing is assured, is that everyone should have the space to air their opinion and views. Yeah? So, there are certain things that the caller spoke about. I would not go again on it. To have my affirmative opinion on it, go back to show number 1 and show number 2, because I dealt with it in show number 1. People were not very clear, I would say, on what I said, show number 1, and so show number 2, it came up and I addressed it again. And so therefore, show number 3 on this series, I will not address it, but I'll strongly urge you to go back to show number 1 and show number 2 to get my stance on some of what the last caller just propositioned. Now, Tem don't reach, and I know for say some man go say, hey, but Matilda, now they show their sweet boy yourself, eh? We don't count. They show their sweet now, but yourself, how you can do it so? In everything, there must be order. In everything, there must be rules and regulations. And because we must abide by rules and regulation, when we say 2 hours, if we go small past the 2 hours, it's understandable. But we cannot go overly above the 2 hours. The next set of things that we have to treat, if I am to start it now, it means say we go deny so for another hour and a half at least. So therefore, and then the merits being treated on their own, because the next set of things then where they can treat, very, very important. I don't set the stage, I don't lay the groundwork, we don't talk about everything, the staging, the stage setting, the amplification, the keywords, you know, that's going to be used, and you know, whatever around. We don't talk about the different engagements them, and you know, questioning back and forth of, you know, paramount chief, religious leaders, you know, civil society, you know, the bar association, you name them, there were engagements with them. I believe all of this could have been done a little earlier. I believe the space for all of these should have been encouraged and promoted and accepted, because it wasn't like people were not talking about this. I know the likes of Marcella Samba, the likes of Valnora Edwin, sometimes even this guy Fatoma, people like myself, people like you know, the triple A's, like people like, you know, Fadima Savage from, you know, the media review show, and Mr. Shilon. I know of people within the media space that have collectively, in different ways, Sierra Gem Media, advocated for the space. So for people to advocate for the space, there also has to be an acceptance of the space. Yeah? So there were advocacies, but the acceptance, I think, came a little late. But hope is not lost. Hope is not lost. I think, say, we still get a lot of grounds and a lot of road for smooth certain things over. But next week's show, we are going to nosedive. We get a look at the interview, get a look at a series of interviews there. And the first one where we look at by order of how they come, we dey look at the mayor in interview where he give to BBC following the Kuskas, where na him go be in first official interview about the Kuskas, where he give to BBC. And then from that day, we dey waka and go to the president interview where he do na BBC focus on Africa. And then from there, we dey waka go down to the president interview where he do with Al Jazeera. Yeah. And people then go say, why the two interview? It is important to listen to the message, the framing of the message. Did something shift or did it not shift? Have we remained constant or was there a shift somewhere? It is important to know these things. And then from there, we go to another interview, a report put together by CNN. And then from that report there, we go to a reaction of the report, in which I frankly think the person who do the interview was completely decimated. Completely decimated. And this is where preparation is important. The way they talk to you people then are us, and the way they talk to people then are do are two different things. Because you people then are us, you can get away with certain things then. But with people then are do, you're not used to them. So therefore, the thing that way you go get away with na us, not when you go get away with na do. That is what that interview demonstrated. And that is the interview with the current Minister of Information. But to close this whole thing, before we go to that subsets of interviews then they analyze the next week, in it all, in all of the responses given thus far during the Kuskas, after the Kuskas, even after the president's speech and that interview before the president's speech, because now they will be captain them for today. Somebody who is part of government, who is clearly thinking strategically, and as a communications person, I give the person kudos, because if I was sitting in a seat, that is exactly how I would have framed and some more. But for what he did at that time as a communications person within government, trying to tranquilize the situation, kudos to you. And I go say, not listen to what anybody say. In your professional space, you did the right thing. I want to make we close with Solomon Jamiru in few minutes audio where he released dealing with the situation. Let's go to the technical team. I'll ask the technical team to play that, because I think that is a good message of reminder, togetherness, cohesiveness, inclusiveness, and unity that was needed at the time, that was absent in that space. So I want to go to Solomon Jamiru, Deputy Minister of Information, Solomon Jamiru in address.
Fambul Onwadu, me na Solomon Jamiru. As I trust God say we all safe and sound this evening, I decide to reach out with this short audio. We don't get a dramatic turn of events in the last 13 or so hours. We don't see videos were very disturbing. We don't lost precious lives on the part of the security sector and on the part of civilians. And I think say we all they grieve. And all this they happen 20 years after the war. Them precious lives owed on loss. May their souls rest in perfect peace. In my honest opinion, I not think say wetin happen because of failure of the security sector. Me think say a lot of wetin don't happen now because a very critical space perhaps may have been mortgaged. A very key and critical space where a coalition of well-meaning voices and efforts for occupy them. And also, I think say whilst we for appreciate the security forces in the sense that they no want for the maintain that kind posture anytime they go out, as if it is the security sector versus the people. I think they're always not inclined for take that kind posture. And I also believe that President Bio is fully alert to his responsibilities. So I think for the one them way they make a proposition, say President Bio for act tougher, or the security sector for go out there and be tough on the people, I don't think that is the way to go in addressing our issues in Sierra Leone. Me think say, waiting for be the proposition, now for build up, a coalition of well-meaning efforts and voices within and outside government for take that space and help government for resolve then key and critical issues within and outside government. Could be eminent men and women, could be religious leaders, political leaders. And even if we think say we are having a faceless group where they sponsor a lot of these things where they happen, I think so for begin for think about what could be done for mainstream some of their key and critical interest groups and just hear and get to know what the real deal is. So I think my own take on all of this, one, we know for the push, say President Bio should act tough and put on in quote as a general. No, let President Bio be President Bio. He's constitutionally elected. Let him be President Bio. Let the security sector continue for do, and pursue in mandate, and we encourage them for continue for be professional. Thirdly, make we encourage this key and critical space for be occupied by well-meaning efforts, build that kind consensus, build that kind coalition within and outside of government. And the fourth one, which is the most important one, I believe say we for always pray, because those who fight on their knees will always have victory in the spirit. I think a lot of what in the happen soon as Salone require a lot of wisdom for me to address them, and God will provide that wisdom. God bless we all. Thank you.
So, this not the message, and I think this was the most unifying message within the current government space that was needed at the time. This message was vital. This message was key. This message had all the elements of inclusion. This message had all the elements of openness. This message had all the elements of willingness to collaboration. Remember, he say what he say waiting in feel say missing, and I don't talk for the past 4 years now, is that we need a coalition of well-meaning Sierra Leoneans, well-meaning voices, he put it, within and outside government. It cannot always be about government, and it cannot always be about the ruling, the current ruling. You get to create space for everybody, so that everybody's voices are heard. And he closed with a very powerful statement. He said, those who fight on their knees, meaning that those who pray, will always arrive at a meaningful destination. Very powerful words. And if only we go by those words, we can achieve a lot together. So now yaso we the left for today. And next week, by God in power, we go pick and come back up. And don't forget that list of the committee we then set up. I will go through it. We will examine it on it for its merit and what it's worth. And we will see. Today now we poll question. The question where we ask now was President Bio's address to the nation against the August 10th protest helpful? 6 of una say yes. 28 of una say no. Enough said. May God bless we all. May God continue to bless Mama Salone. Until we meet again, don't forget to continue to hydrate. Keep hydrating. H2O. May God bless we all. May God continue to look over we all. This now my second cup. So if you not fail to say I'm not done the first one done. This now my second glass. And we pray for peace and stability and for cooler heads to prevail in our country, the land that we love, Mama Sierra Leone. Una tata till we meet again next time.